hydroponic update is going to be a day late. My apologies. Had quite a few personal things going on, so we're just getting back into the swing of things. But as I promised you, we're going to make today a basil oil recipe. So what I've done is some aggressive pruning that you saw down there, but oh my gosh, it's like, I feel like it's airy and open and a lot more flow going on in the tent. That basil really took up a whole lot of space. Can you imagine? Can you just believe all this basil that I have? So I've washed it, and now I'm going to throw all of this in my salad spinner just to get it dry and prepare us for the next part of this process. I am going to blend the basil with some grapeseed oil. You can use olive oil or whatever oil of your choosing, avocado oil, whatever. You can also mix oils. You can also do, if you want to do like half a cup of avocado, half a cup of grapeseed oil, half a cup of olive oil, half a cup of grapeseed oil. That's on you. Now, I was going to take the time to pick off all the stems off of here, but I think we're just going to move along and just blend them all together because we're going to end up straining this anyway. So let's see. I want to I'm wondering now if my food processor would be the best way to do this. Let's blend this portion up and then I'll add some more. We'll do it that way. Perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to add some more. If you only could smell this, you guys. Oh my goodness. All right, and this is the last of it. All right, so now we're going to get a measuring cup. Can you believe that all that basil literally amounts to like half of this cup? Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, so I'm going to add a half of a cup of this grapeseed oil. Okay. Pour that in here. And then we are going to blend. Look at that beautiful green color. We have it fully blended. This is not going to look the prettiest. We have it fully blended in here. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is pour this into a pot and we're going to render it. Once we get this brought up to a certain temperature, then we will strain it and allow for the separation of this now infused oil with the basil pulp to be separated. Okay, so I have a pot and I'm going to pour this into the pot to put on the stove. And you can really do this with any herb, not just basil. You could do a combination too if you wanted to. You could do basil and oregano. If you wanted to add parsley, parsley doesn't have any taste to me personally, but people like to use parsley, but you could add that in the oil as well. Again, you could do a combination of herbs. Okay, I think I got as much off of here as I'm going to get. Okay. And we're just going to put this on the stove, and I'll bring you over when it starts to bubble. All right, so we're letting this simmer for about 6 to 7 minutes. All right, so I have cheesecloth that's over my strainer, over the bowl, so I can pour this in to separate, like I said, the pulp of the basil from the now oil that has been infused into. One thing I did not mention, you don't have to do the blender. You don't have to do the blender procedure that I just did. You can also put it in your pot that you're going to use to infuse, pour your oil and your basil. And as long as the basil is chopped somewhat, you can use an emulsion blender to blend it down to get a little bit more of the same thing without going through the blending process. So now I took it off the burner to let it cool, and I'm just now going to pour this and let it just sit and strain and separate. We're going to give it its time. And then the pulp that I have, it can be used for pesto. You can definitely make pesto with that, so nothing goes to waste. You see that? That beautiful green oil. Amazing. So we're going to let that continue to separate and do what it's doing, and then I'll be able to put it in a jar for me to have. Now, a couple of uses for this basil oil. If you're making a homemade pizza, you can drizzle some basil oil. If you're doing a flatbread, focaccia, anything, sourdough, you have some oil to dip in. This can also be used for a homemade salad dressing. You can incorporate it into a homemade mayo, like for a sandwich spread. So many different things you can use it for. Trust me, it's just one more thing to have to play with flavors and layer up your recipes. So I'm going to be back when this is fully separated, and we'll be ready to put it in a jar. All right, so we have finished. I'm just going to lift this pulp up easily. I'm going to put that to the side. And I'm going to show you guys this beautiful, oh my gosh, the whole thing, bottom of the bowl is green. I could have used an even smaller Even smaller cup than what I had, I could have used. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. I'm going to allow the rest of this to do what it does, but I wanted to show you guys. Look how beautiful that is. Again, you can use it on pizzas, all kinds of things, salad dressings. Let me know if you want to try it. Let me know what herb blend you decide to use. And until next time, take care, friends.